In today's show, we're going to learn about PowerApps offline. This is going to be a two-part series. And so today in part one, what we're going to do is we're going to show you a demo app that I've built that has full functionality, has pictures and image collection, offline, online syncing, all types of craziness. We're going to walk through that. And then we're going to start over on a blank app and I'm going to show you the core functions for doing offline. And then in part two, which I'll record later and make available, I will then do talk about app building and different things and techniques that you need to know. But so today is really just about what can offline do and how you can get started. But first, here's our intro. Hi, my name is Shane Young with PowerApps 911. Those guys. And today's show, we're going to learn about PowerApps offline mode. Right? And the reason we're going to do this is because a lot of you are starting to ask these questions, right? How do I take an app offline? What can I do? What are the functions I need to use? And how do you really build a real-world offline app? And truly, how far down the rabbit hole can you go? So I just finished up a big project for a customer who is using offline to its extreme. So I thought I'd kind of, show you a demo app that I built to recreate a bunch of their functionality so you can kind of get an idea how it works. And then B, start to talk to you guys about the core components so that you can do it. And then they'll also get us all set up. So in part two, instead of all of this minutia around how it works, in part two, we're going to talk about building apps and things that we've learned, things that I teach my consulting team around when they have to build their offline apps. So try to help you guys be better at it. But that'll be part two. Today's just about, hey, what is possible? And then the core pieces to get started. And I thought what we'd do is I will switch over to my phone here in just a second. And on my phone, I will walk you through online and offline that demo app. We'll kind of get started. So let's just jump over to my phone. Okay, so over here on my phone, we're going to click on the offline demo app. And here you can see it's got a cute picture of Chewy, so it must be a good app. But here we're going to walk through an offline inspection. And so in these offline inspections, typically what happens is you want to be able to collect different pieces of data, take some pictures, and kind of capture all that. Maybe you're doing an inspection in a basement or down a mine shaft or just somewhere that there isn't good cell reception. So that's what we're going to walk through here. And so here you can see I can choose my different job sites. So we're going to say, let's go do an inspection of the garage. So we're going to do the garage. And notice in the bottom right hand corner that little green arrow. So that's telling me that I'm currently connected, because as we go through these tests, we're going to go offline and online and make sure we know what's going on. So let's just do a simple one. So we'll say start inspection. And so here you can see the items I have to inspect. I got the fridge, Chewy's car, and the mess. And so notice also the upload is unavailable. So here's the fridge. And so here I'm like, hey, the fridge looks meh. Let's see. Needs to be cleaned. And then take a picture. And so I'm going to just say take a photo. And we'll take a photo of the camera that we're using. Yay! Real Inception-like. There you go. So we'll use that photo. That's what my refrigerator looks like apparently. And there you go. After a second, it is all saved. So now we can say save. And so you can see the fridge is marked as green and done. And let's just back out of the app and make sure things are working okay. So I'm just going to close the app this way. Whoop. And so then now if we open our offline demo app back up, you can see that now when we come to the home screen, we're greeted with, hey, you have an unsaved inspection. You got to either delete that, finish that, or whatever to move on. So, well, and we can't submit it because even though we're online, we haven't saved all the records, so the inspection's incomplete. So we're going to say continue. But you can see my fridge data was saved. So now let's pretend like the internet goes out. So we'll swipe down, we'll go to airplane mode, whoop, internet's gone. So you can see no internet, right? We've got the little bar, but we're going to keep going. Chewy's car, it looks good. Black is fancy. And then we'll take a picture of it. I'll take a photo. And I think somewhere over here there's probably, I don't know, something like that should have been, but whatever. We'll say use that photo. And we'll hit save. And so even though we're offline, it's saved into our collection. And now, the app's about to crash. So I'm going to do the iPhone thing. I'm going to swipe up and then swipe up again. And so then now, right, so mid-process there it crashed. We'll go back in here. We'll go back into our app. And we will say continue. Chewy's car's still there. Very cool. And we're still completely offline. So now we'll say good. Or we'll skip this one. Skip. Board. That's how you spell board. Say done and save. And so then now you'll notice here that even though all of the items are green, we should be able to upload. We can't because it hasn't been saved. If we go back over here, same thing. Submit is still grayed out. Well, we'll go walk up the stairs. We'll get back online. We'll come off our airplane mode. And now the app is reconnected. And just like that, the submit button lit up. And so now we can say submit. And then now what it's doing, and it is saving the data off to my data source. It's uploading the images to my data source, tying all that data together. And here, I don't know, momentarily, it should be nice and happy, but we've got all of our data out in our data source. Woohoo! So, pretty cool little app, huh? Right? The great thing here, though, is it worked the same, whether the internet was there or not. Nothing was different. I didn't have to purposely kind of deal with any of that, so that was pretty nice. All right, so let's switch over to our desktop here and let's start talking about how to make this happen. Okay, so the first thing I thought we should do is probably go over here and just make sure we saw that the data truly got saved. So I believe I have a list called inspections, inspection line items. And so here we can see inspection time. Let's see, today is the 24th, so let's see what we got here. There we go, there's the mess, there's Chewy's car, there's the fridge. Notice the inspection results, good and meh. There are notes, the photo URLs, so then we should be able to grab one of these. The way I did it didn't make it super easy, but these are the actual URLs of the documents. So if we click on this, I'm going to say edit that. Are you going to show me the whole URL? I think you did. Control A, Control C. Let's go right here. Whoop, whoop. And there's a fancy little picture. All right. So our app did all the things we want, right? We worked on it offline, and then we were able to come over here and make all that happen. And so the way that it does that is it's via using things called collections, right? So if you're not familiar with the collections, you probably should take a second and go watch the collections video. I got a link somewhere, I don't know, somewhere around here is a link to it. But so that collections video will make sure you understand, but they're basically just a type of variable that stores a table of a data, or if you're a developer, think of it as an array. But the idea is it stores rows and columns of data. So as we were building out our offline app, we were saving data into that collection. And then once the data was in that collection, we were saving that collection physically to my mobile phone. And so that's what was letting me do, be able to turn the internet on and off without issue, without losing any of the data. So that's really one of the big keys of offline. It is worth noting that with offline, it doesn't work with your browser. So it has to be an app that runs in the player. So that could be on your mobile phone, that could be on your tablet. But I also don't want you guys to forget that there is a PC app that you can run that does make this possible as well, right? I think a lot of people don't know that that's really a thing. So, right, and if you just go, like in my case, to the Windows Store, so I'm going to open up the Microsoft Store real quick. All right, so here's a Microsoft Store. Microsoft's trying to sell me Minecraft. I've already got it, thank you. But so if we go up here and search for Power Space Apps, right there, you'll see that there is a PowerApps app. And so this app, it's real important to understand, this app is just a player. It's just the same as the PowerApps app I put on my mobile phone. But what's really neat about this app is once I open it up, so then I can come over here, I'm going to search for my offline app, right? So we'll search for offline, and there's the offline demo app. And so after a few seconds of loading, you can see that, boom, right here, I'm in here, and I can run the same app, right? I can go inspect the kitchen this time, start inspection. And all of the things about SaveData and LoadData, the steps for saving the data locally, they all work in this app. So keep that in mind. It is possible to build offline apps that run on a PC or a laptop. You just have to use this player, and I think a lot of people miss that. Okay. Anyway, that's enough of that for the moment, so we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of the Microsoft Store. I don't need to buy anything from them today. And so we'll jump over here to PowerApps. And so now what I want to do is I want to work together to build you guys an app, right? So I'm going to say create me one from blank. I'm going to do a phone app, and we're going to call this Offline for Video. And we're going to say create here. As we're working through this though, right, we're going to just work our way through the basics. There's a bunch of core pieces of this you want to understand. And then don't worry, in part 2, we're going to talk about the deeper stuff. Also remember, if you are a subscriber to the library at training.powerapps911.com, you can download the demo app though. So if you want that awesomeness, all that picture and all that magic, you want to go see how I did it, you can get a hold of that app today. So anyway, so now that we're over here, what we want to do is probably jump in, and let's start with the most simple thing. And so the most simple portion of this is you have to be comfortable with collections, because everything about offline is collection based. So to do a collection, right, I'm going to throw a button up here, insert a button. And so, oh, that is not what I meant to do. What I want to do is I want to have this button add to the collection, right? So add to collection. And we're going to make this really piecemealed, so hopefully it's easier for you guys to understand kind of how all this is being built. And so when you add something to the collection, I'm going to have a text input, and then I'll have a drop down. Oh, input, drop down right there. Put that down here. And so we're going to say, all right, whenever you press this button, we are going to collect. And we're going to do col in front of it, right, for collection. Collection items to keep. I don't know, just making up things. We're going to do this, and then we're going to say for the item title, right, so that's the column in the collection, we're going to set it to be text input 1 dot, that's dot text, perfect. And then for item value, we're going to set that to be drop down 1 dot selected dot value. Boom, boom, right? So pretty simple. So now we'll throw a gallery on here as well, so we can kind of see our work. Let's see, a gallery is over here because my screen is all scrunchy. This is what happens. I work on a big giant monitor. When I squinch it up to make these videos, it gets angry with me. And we're going to say the data source is collect items to keep. And we're going to do just a title and subtitle. Perfect. So now if I hit play, and so we'll be real creative. You know, I've been eating a lot of Panda Express lately, so we'll do Panda 2. There you go. And then we'll do, how about cow 1, 3. All right, right, so that's adding stuff to our collection. And of course, Chew would be mad if we don't say dogs are number 1, right? Boom. Okay, so far nothing offline-y, but that gives you, feel for how to put data in a collection. And so then now what I want to do, well, I need to be able to get rid of all the data in that collection. So we're going to throw another button over here, and we're just going to call this clear collection. Oh, clear collection. Like that. And so then this little piece of code here is going to say clear, collect items to keep, right? It's the name of our collection. And so that will just wipe out all the contents of that. Okay, so now you have a collection of data. You want to save that. So in order to save something offline, what you're going to do is you're going to have a button down here. And so this button, what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, button, I want you to run a function called SaveData or SaveData. I don't know. SaveData. And so what this function does is, all right, well, what collection do you want to keep? Well, I want to keep the one called collection items to keep. And what file name do you want to use to save it on your device? So what I always have been doing is it's got to be in quotes. And so this is col item to keep, right? So col means it's my collection. So I'm going to call this saved items to keep. And so that way I know the name of the file and I kind of get to a pattern, right? So it's easy for me to connect the dots later. What you use, I don't care, but that's kind of the way I've been thinking about it. And so by pressing this button, it would save to device, right? So because the key thing here is when we save to the device, then we know that it's safe, right? Whether the app crashes, they turn it off, they go to lunch, it doesn't matter. Because offline and online is really not about necessarily being online or offline. It's about storing the information so that it's accessible if things happen, like the internet goes away for any variety of reasons. So save to device is going to do that. Then I'm going to need a button though to load that back. So I'm going to throw another button on here. Oh, and for the second time, I'm going to mess up the sizing. And so for this button, we're going to call this LoadData. And so the easiest way to write your LoadData function is copy your SaveData, right? So Control C, go down here. And we're going to turn the word SaveData into LoadData. Collect items to keep. So that's the name. We want to load data into a collection named this. And we're going to load in the saved items to keep. There's also a third little option on this one. So SaveData only had 2 options. This one has a third one. And so you want to set this to true. So what this says is, hey, if the file isn't there, if there isn't anything to load, should I flag an error to the user? And so we're going to tell it, no, we do not want it to. Because what happens is the very first time a person uses my offline app, they're going to get an error message, there was nothing to load, and I don't want them to see that. So I always write this formula just like that. Load data, boom, boom, boom. And just like that, we have got an app that is ready to go online or offline. So what I want to do though is I'm going to add a couple little pieces before we leave. And so the first one I want to add, so we're going to go down here, is we're going to add a little thing. We're just going to say online question mark. And so there is a special property called connection, and do a dot, and connection.connected. So that tells you whether or not they're online. So is it true or false whether or not they're online? It is connection.connected. Connection.metered, that tells you whether or not they're on a metered connection. So if they're on, are they on Wi-Fi or are they on cellular is really what that's asking. So we can see right now online is true. Great. And so the other thing, or no, it's enough for right now. So we've got our status, boom, boom, boom. So we're going to say file. We're going to say save. All right, that is saved. And so then this is where the little, this app is great, right? So I'm going to right click, exit out of here. But if we search for offline again, there's our offline for videos. So we're going to click to download. So go get that. But so, because one of the things that's really frustrating about the offline process is SaveData and LoadData don't work on your PC, right? If we go over here and I hit play and I say save the device, you're going to see I get an error. Ugh. If I say LoadData, oh, hold down the Alt key, LoadData, get errors. But they're not real errors, right? They're not formula errors. They are runtime errors because SaveData and LoadData is not supported in the browser. I can't say that enough because somebody's going to ask me in the comments. SaveData, LoadData, not supported in the browser. But that's why we use this little guy, so I don't have to switch to my phone, right? I'm busy playing Star Wars on my phone. I can't be switching over to PowerApps. But so now we should be able to come over here and do some testing. So on the little app player here, we'll go to Cal is 2, add the collection, boom. Now if we hit save the device, in theory it should be saved. So what am I going to do? I'm going to close out the app, exit. We're going to go back into the app. Boop. Now you're like, oh, the data's not there. It must not have been working. Well, I got to load the data first. So let's hit load data. Cal came back. Woo, 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 woo. We are now successfully saving our data online and offline. And really, that's what's really almost difficult about this is there's no like offline moment here, right? There's no, I don't have to think about like, is it offline or online? It's really just about saying, hey, everything that they're doing that they're saving, I'm going to save in a collection, and I'm always going to save that collection to the device. And then with that data saved on the device, then I can load that back up when they restart the app, right? Because one of the things we know about variables and collections is when you go offline or when you close the app, they go away. So that's why you've got to be able to use SaveData to save the collection to the device and then LoadData to bring it back. That's really the trick that but the thing you're trying to wrap your head around here. And so now you could say, well, Shane, it's kind of annoying that when my user opens up the app, they had to load the data. You are absolutely right. I agree with you completely. So what we can do, instead of using the load data here, but right, we put on this button to understand how it works and we to troubleshoot it. So we know it works. I'm going to copy that. And so what I typically do is on my app on start, I just do this. So every time my app starts, it pulls in that data. So now if we say file, here, wait, we'll get rid of our load data button. So now we're going to say file, save, and then republish it again. Perfect. And so then now if I open this app back up, right, we'll exit out. And modified 15 seconds ago. Good. So we'll go back in here. And so what we should see is when we load up the app this time, Cal is automatically there. Now what happens if they say add something to my collection? So they're going to add a cat to the collection. And then they exit out. What's going to happen this time? Exit. Oh, yep. I think you know, right? If we go back in here, we're only going to load our cow. Why? Because even though we saved cat to the collection, we never saved the collection back to the device. Oh, right? So let's go over and look at what we do differently next. And so the big thing, what I'm going to do here, you see this? Grab this. Whoop. Cut it out, right? We wrote it here because that helped us understand how it works. But now I'm going to go back here to add my collection. I'm going to say, hey, every time after we add a collection, right, we're going to use a semicolon to run another line. We're going to save a data. This is the most important thing to understand as you start to develop these apps. As soon as your user saves data, right, we put it in a collection, collect it to the collection. Immediately after that, follow it with a save data. Because if you do this now all on the same button, now my person wouldn't have just lost cat, right? So let's delete this button, say file and save. And then now we can open this back up. And so let's exit out of here again. Make sure we got the new version. Oh, we did not get the new version, right? Our save to device button is still here. So let's exit again. There you go. Second time's a charm. So then now if we go up here and be like Chewy and we say add to collection. And so now if we close, or what if this thing like completely crashes? Like let's not even exit out cleanly. Let's open up Task Manager. Drag this over here where you guys can see it. And so we're going to take that PowerApps app right here. We're going to end it, right? We're going to crash that app out. Pooh, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. So now I'm going to run it again. All right, so it opened back up. So now we'll do a search offline and offline for video. And there is Cow and Chewy. Yay! Right? And so that's really important, I think, to make sure that when you're in the testing process, crash your app out, right? So hard close it on your phone, or if you're using this, close it with Task Manager. Every little step of the process, because what you're going to find out is as soon as you turn your users loose on it, they're going to find ways to break this you haven't thought of. So the more of these type of tests you can do, the better off you are. But the great thing now, right, is now you can see that basically I've made the entire process of saving the data for my users transparent to them, right? That it is just getting saved or cached to their device without them having any say or know-how. And so then, right, at some point, the next thing you'd want to do, we're not going to actually do it, but then you'd want some type of button up here that said, save to my data source. And then you would take advantage of your connection.connected property to only show them or to disable the button until they're online or offline. And so that's where you see things like in the other app where I had that cute little icon that showed them whether they were online or offline. But all of my buttons are disabled until they have the ability. And another thing that comes up a lot is people will be like, hey, I just want it to magically save when they go back online. So there's stuff out there around how to do that with timers and things like that. I'm going to be honest, as a guy who's designed, built some word, a lot of apps for a lot of people, magic never works. And a timer in the background magically updating the data just is setting you up for disaster. So what I always do in my apps is just like you guys saw earlier, right? If we open this, let's go back over to the other one. So what I always do in my apps here is you're going to see that, things like my submit button is here. They have to, before they can start a second inspection, they've got to submit the first one. So that way they're incentivized to do it. And now right now this is grayed out because there's two properties to that submit button. There is, are we online? Well, you can see the little green here. So yep, they're online. But the second property is, have they filled out all the data? And if you look, they have not. So if they went through here real quick and filled in all of these, and one more. And so just like that, right? Now that they've skipped all three of these, you can see that the upload button is here. That's bad. That shouldn't be there. Oops, don't tell anybody. But if we go back over here, or no, it is here, right? No, they should be there, right? Because now they are both online and the data is fully set. But if they were offline, if the little warning icon in red was down here where they were offline, then this button would still be grayed out. So that's another big thing to think about, right? Is when are you going to have the say, right? And that's what we're going to do in part 2. In part 2, we're going to break down building apps and talk a little bit more about like design and things that I think about when I'm building the apps. But for part 1 here, I just want to get you guys wrapping your head around. You got to use a collection for everything. Someone's going to ask, can I use a variable? No, you have to use a collection for everything. So even stuff you'd normally stick in a variable, you put in a collection, and then you use the first function. So everything goes in a collection, and then every time you save something in a collection, save data, which will then store it on the local device, and then you can figure out how you want to submit it, right? And so you could go watch my for all video or something like that. One of the videos around submitting collections of data and how to push all that data back to your data source. All right. Well, hopefully that helps. Reminder, if you are a subscriber, you can download the offline app. You can download this app right now and play with it and see all the secrets around. There's really complex stuff there, quite frankly, for doing the images and things. And it probably took me about 8 hours to build this demo app because there was just so many, 8 hours is probably not fair, but it took me a long time. There was a lot of little widgets and stuff that kind of go into making the app so easy to use for your users. If you have any questions, leave me comments below. I'm sure you will. So challenge me with those, and it'll also help inspire what goes in the part 2 video. I'll probably wait a couple weeks before I make part 2 and figure out what you guys are wanting to see in the actual app building video. But I think with all that, I'm just going to say thanks and have a great day. Before you go, be sure to click on the subscribe button over here so that way you'll be notified when new videos come out. If you need any help or you want to work together, whether your problem's big or small, check us out at PowerApps 911. We do it all. I rhymed. Or if you're looking for more formal training offerings, we have those linked up here somewhere. So check them out. Thanks and have a great day.